Hello everyone and welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm continuing to use the Vibrant Vases set. If you remember my last video, I made these for my swap cards. I think this is the one I sent out with the Celebrate sentiment. But I'd tried it with one of the other sentiments and I'd tried it horizontally as well. So I'm going to keep those for my display for open house. But I'm going to use the Vibrant Vases again. I haven't used the whole set, and I'm still only using sort of little pieces and fussy cutting some of the flowers. I did use the punch this time just to punch out the vases, but that was all. What I did find when I was using the punch was that let me get a little card so you can see. It punched out this little flower, which is the tulip from here. This one here. But I thought how beautiful that would be as a lily of the valley flower. And you could use this stem and these leaves. And because this is photopolymer, you don't have to have that stem straight. And if you know the lily of the valley flower, you know that it curves over. So what you can do when you put this on a block, let's just put this here for you. And I'll just put a little piece of card underneath. So instead of having it straight, with photopolymer, you can always just bend things how you want them to go. You can't do that with the foam, but you can do it with the photopolymer. So I was thinking that if you bent that and then put these pieces on as the leaves, let's get them off. See, and have it stamped like this. Let's take this little piece off as well. Like this, and then you put the little bells on to make the lily of the valley flower. I thought that would be really pretty. And lily of the valley is actually my husband's favourite flower. And we had it on our wedding invitations, and I had it in my hair when we got married. And I always try to make him something with lily of the valley on during the year. So I think I might be making that for a card for him, maybe for our anniversary. So anyway, back to this set. So today I'm going to use the flowers again, and I'm going to use this set of flowers, and I'm also going to use this filler to put the colour into the flowers. You see these tiny little leaves go with this, but I'm not doing the leaves with that because I wanted to colour the stalks. So I actually used one of my blender pens, and I'll show you what I've got ready so far. So I wanted to make my card horizontal, and you know that I really prefer to have the fold at the left hand side when it's a horizontal card. And so I always keep lots of pieces already cut to the right size for my card backs. And I know if I make a white card, I always use the thick cardstock just because it stands up a little bit better than the coloured. So I've got my card and it's cut down the centre, so this is 4 1/4, and then I've scored at 5 1/2. And just fold it over. And then what I did next was I took a little bit of the balmy blue and I cut it so that I had a 1/2 inch all the way around. So this is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. And then it's just going to go there, which will leave me a nice gap all the way around. And let's have that attached. I've been sat here this morning watching the deer play outside, and they've been jumping over everybody's fences trying to look for leaves, I think, and sort of scratching around trying to find little bits and pieces to eat. But they've moved on at the moment, and they're at the far side of the golf course. So I'm thinking there must be something a bit tastier over there for them. Okay, so then I cut a piece of the thinner Whisper White card, and I cut that just 1/4 inch smaller. So it's cut at 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. And I put it through the embossing folder, the one from the Share What You Love suite. And it made this beautiful, beautiful flower on it. And I also did another one, and I put it through the linen embossing folder. So I quite like this. It's very, very subtle, and I wasn't sure which one I was going to use today. So what I decided was I'd use both. I'd make two. So first I'm going to use this with the bigger embossed flower on, and I don't want to cover too much of it up. So I'm going to attach that. I'm not putting any ribbon or anything on this one behind, so I know I can attach it. And I've put it, I think the flower is meant to go this way on a card, but I actually, for the card I'm making today, I actually liked it this way. So I'm going to put that like that. And then I cut out a piece of plain Whisper White. It wasn't embossed or anything. And I tried the second and the third of the stitched oval framelets. And the second was slightly too small for what I wanted. So I'm going with the third one. And it's going to go here, but I'm going to put it on dimensionals. And first, I'm going to get my little picture ready on here. And what I did was, just like the other cards I made, I used this vase, I stamped it in Memento black, and then I used the balmy blue to colour it in with this stamp, and then I cut it out with the punch. So that's all that is, and it's going to go just here. And I was going to put this on dimensionals, but because I want this piece on dimensionals, if I have them both on, it's difficult to post, and this is a card that I want to post. So let's attach that to here. I've put it nearly to the bottom, but not quite. See, there's a little tiny gap. I don't want to cover up the stitching. Okay, and then what I did was, using the Memento again, I stamped 2 of the triple flower and 1 of the ones with the daisies on. And then I've coloured them in. This is Daffodil Delight and this is Lovely Lipstick. And I used the filler from here. And we don't have a punch for it, so I fussy cut one of them out. And I'm just going to put that so that it's on the very top of the vase. And again, I would have liked to have used a dimensional, but because I'm putting the whole thing up, it just makes it too bulky. There we are. And then what I did was, in my scrap card, I always keep lots of little pieces like this kind of size. They're great for sentiments and even for little pieces like this. So I just took one of those out and I stamped in Memento ink the Just For You. And here it is, look. So this is what I had, and I stamped it over to the right hand side because I was going to put the whole piece on. But then I realised that I wanted this at the right hand side, and so that one didn't work. So I printed it again, and what I did was I just printed it on a smaller piece because I want it to stick out slightly from here, just like this. So I'm going to put dimensionals on here, but I'm not going to put them right at the end because that's where it's going to cover over with this piece. And I don't want sort of a double row of the dimensionals. So I'm just going to put 2, one at the pointy end here and one just about in the middle. So let's pop those on. There we go. And then I'm going to put 2 on the flower, one at the top, one at the bottom, so that it straddles this piece of paper, or this card anyway. And once you've got the pieces ready, this is a fast card. Okay, and then I'm just going to put this where I'd like it, which is just at this right hand side, and I'm just going to slide this in until I've got it where I want it. And I want to see the majority of this flower, so I'm just putting it down a little bit, and there we go. So that's that one all finished, and I think it looks nice with this embossed flower. I think it just draws your eye to more of the flowers that way. Now the second one, because I'd started cutting things and didn't use them, I've got the same piece of card, which is going to have the fold at the left hand side, and you see it's 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it at 5 1/2. Just fold it over. And this time, instead of the balmy blue, I've cut the back in the Grapefruit Grove. And again, it's the same 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm going to just attach that one. Again, I'm doing it as a horizontal card. I do like to see a horizontal card, and I think people get so that they always make the same sort of vertical card, like a portrait, and it opens. But I like landscape cards sometimes. I think it looks just a little bit different when you've got it on a mantelpiece with all your other birthday cards, and people's eyes are drawn to it because it's a different shape. So here's this. This is the piece of white that's 1/4 inch smaller than this. So it's 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, and it went through the linen embossing folder. And that's going to go just here. But I'm not going to glue it down yet because I think I might put a ribbon on it. I've got my second oval and my vase, and this vase, I did this one with the Grapefruit Grove ink, but I did it just the same as the first one. And then I'm going to use these flowers. I'm just going to fussy cut this. Doesn't have to be very neat, doesn't have to be wonderful. I'm just quickly going around, trying to leave a little bit of white so that the flowers stand out a bit. Now you'll be able to see what I meant about not stamping the leaves on this one. And I went round with the blender pens just because I wanted those stalks coloured in. And if I'd used the stamp, then it only does the leaves. I should take a little bit more off there. There we go. And let's attach that. And this was inked up with the Daffodil Delight, and then I used the Calypso Coral just for the little centres on my blender pen. If you don't have the blender pen, it really doesn't matter. You can use an aqua painter with the ink pad, or you can use one of a tiny little paintbrush and just dip it into the ink. Okay, so let's see. I've got this long piece that I had stamped for the first one. And I'm going to put this one at the left hand side, like this. And I've got the ribbons that are part of the new celebration item, and this is, if you spend $60, this is one of the things you can choose, the 5 little rolls of ribbon. And I've taken out the orangey coloured one, the Calypso Coral, and let me just see. Let's just undo this because this is when I was playing about this morning. So all I had was a long piece, and I didn't know whether I was going to put a piece on here and behind it, like this, and tie a little knot on, or whether I was just going to make a little bow for here. So let's try making a little bow and see what that looks like. Just make a quick little bow. It's a little bit big yet, so let's see. I think I might just put it on the flowers. I think I like that. So let's make it, pull it tight. Okay, so we can attach all of this now that I know I'm not putting a ribbon around this piece. And just pop that in there with its little tiny 1/4 inch border. And then I'm going to put these on dimensionals. So again, I'm going to do the top and the bottom so that I can slide that other little piece of card across. This one, 2, and let's see where I'd want this to go. Okay, so, oops. I'm just going to attach this. No, I want it to go about here. And it's exactly the same length as the piece of card that we embossed. And then the flowers just over the card and towards the left hand side. And then, let's see, oops. Let's cut these off, little tails off. Not sure how long I want it yet, so I'm going to leave them fairly long to start with. And then I'm going to get a glue dot, excuse my reach. Find a little glue dot. I'm going to put it just on the top of the vase. Whoops. Just so that I can attach the little knot to there. And I'm only going to trim it a tiny bit. I like it falling out of the oval there. So there we are. There's the second card. I hope you like that one too. So 2 cards for the price of 1, just because I didn't know which embossing folder to use, and I wanted to see which one I liked best when it was ready. So there you are. There's my 2 last cards from Vibrant Vases for the time being. I will be making another set of cards next week and using another of our new Occasions catalogue stamps. I haven't decided quite which one yet. I've used the Birthday Cheer and I've used the Vibrant Vases. I do have the Butterfly Gala and the Lasting Lily and the 9 Lives. Let's have a look. So I've got the 9 Lives, Lasting Lily, the Butterfly Gala and the Birthday Cheer that I've used. So let's put those there. If you have a preference, just put a little comment on the video, and whichever one garners the most votes, that's the one I'll use for next week. Okay everyone, thanks again for watching me. I love making the videos for you, and I love to see the comments as well. So thank you for all of your kind comments and all of your questions. If I can answer them, I always do. So thank you so much. Bye bye everybody.